There is a Senate hearing today, and the subject, the oil spill in the Gulf. BP, Transocean, and Halliburton all blaming each other. Executives from the three companies will be testifying today. For a preview, we are joined right now by Tyson Slocum. He is the director of the Public Citizens Energy Program. It is an oil industry watchdog. Tyler, so glad to have you on with us. What are we going to hear from these companies that's useful?
Well, I think they're going to be pointing the fingers at each other, and if the senators are on their game and have been prepped well, I think we're going to see that the blame lies squarely with BP. They're the leaseholder. They would have had management overseeing both contractors, both Transocean, who operated the rig, and Halliburton, which was cementing the well. And so even if there was a problem with one of these contractors, the fact is that BP was overseeing the operation. And according to the Wall Street Journal this morning, it appears as though BP ordered some of the contractors to shuffle up the usual routine, which may have resulted in the catastrophic blowout on April 20th.
Tyler, I mean, as you just alluded to here, I mean, BP, I think it's fair to say, has a spotty safety record, but Transocean as well seems to be the most cited in terms of safety violations, but you still think BP is going to be on the hook primarily because that's the lead company.
Right. So they're legally responsible under the Oil Pollution Act, and when the lawyers start getting at all this, it's going to come down to the fact that BP management was overseeing both contractors, and so the company's going to be ultimately held responsible. What
do the senators really need to prove? Essentially that both companies did not prepare for the worst, or in the rescue efforts that they've thought a little bit more about costs to their own infrastructure than to the potential environmental damage?
What we're hoping that the senators reveal in their lines of questioning is what kinds of safety mechanisms and regulations could have averted this disaster, because we essentially have two components to this tragedy. One was the blowout on April 20th, which resulted in, we believe, a leak of gas that traveled up through the ocean, enveloped the rig, and exploded, killing, we believe, 11 workers. But the second is that oil continues to flow from the hole punched in the ocean floor. And the question is whether or not an emergency backup blowout prevention valve that's operated acoustically from the surface of the ocean could have cut off that oil flow at the very beginning, and therefore we wouldn't be faced with this environmental and ecological disaster. And so I think those are the lines of questioning we need to see. We need to find out from BP why they didn't spend $500,000 for one of these acoustically controlled blowout prevention valves, because it would have cost them $500,000 up front, but of course they're spending tens of millions of dollars a day and are facing billions in liabilities associated with this disaster.
Tyler, isn't it true as well that BP refused to even test some of these measures, the blowout prevention valve included?
Well, we know that there was at least a test a couple of weeks before the accident. The Minerals Management Service, which is the division of the Department of Interior that oversees and regulates offshore oil drilling because it's on federal land, they require a number of safety tests, which include regular tests of the blowout prevention valve. I think what happened here is that there was enormous amounts of pressure that eclipsed the ability of this blowout prevention valve to function properly. And so remember, these are not your daddy's oil rigs. These are drilling at enormous depths, 5,000 feet of water, another 20,000 feet drilling into the earth. So you're operating under enormous pressure. So this is really a new generation of rigs. And I think it begs the question of whether or not safety regulations have been outpaced by some of these new risks associated with these drilling technologies.
Tyler, we thank you very much, because we know all the easy oil has been found, this push towards offshore drilling. Tyson Slocum joining us there. He is the director of the Public Citizens Energy Program.